Leadership, our revered notion of nobility, the art form of moving and motivating people towards a common goal, a goal that should make us better, stronger, more aligned with purpose. Clarity, vision, passion, courage, humility, the type of noble disposition a leader embodies, and somebody we all long to be led by. In this ethos of grandeur where dollars account for the cents that gets bartered, placed on bidding blocks, and literally sold to the highest bidder, we must demand our minds back, our democracy back, our power back. There's an election in play. Elections should be synonymous with choice. And our right to choose a president next month will be the most important choice in a leader we may ever make. On September 23rd, the incumbent president said, and I quote, "Get rid of all the ballots and you'll have a peaceful, never mind, there won't be a transfer, frankly, there'll be a continuation." The United States Constitution mentions our right to vote 5 times. It appears more than any other right in the Constitution. Obviously, Americans find it important to vote, but let's get rid of the ballots and let's get rid of the mailboxes too. His gestures are anti-democratic and fundamentally un-American. He clearly wages war on anything that threatens his leadership. Frederick Douglass knew the power of the ballot, and immediately after the Civil War ended, the institution of slavery said, equality for both Black Americans and women must include the ability to vote and to have a hand in making and administering the laws of the land. 100 years later, prominent civic hero John Lewis showed us exactly what good trouble brings. Bloody Sunday in 1965 was one of the most courageous moments in American history, when Americans denied of the American birthright demanded that right to be granted. The right to vote for leadership. And it took 600 Black and white Americans to stand up to the un-American force on the other side of that bridge. John Lewis once said, when you believe in something that is so right, so good, and so necessary, you are prepared to stand up, and you are prepared and willing to die for it. It's no coincidence that he died the same year of one of the most important elections in history, presidential election 2020. One of the greatest fears of white supremacists is allowing someone like me, who has a necessary reason to vote, convince you of how important it is to vote. And while yes, it's imperatively important to vote, I can't express that enough. It is also very necessary that we awake to the incomprehensible incompetence that has marauded this land in search for good ratings, something and someone to apprentice and fire. But the fact is, leadership begins with love. And the incumbent is a desperate peddler for respect. In the words of Leo Tolstoy, respect was invented to cover the empty place where love should be. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated, love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Love, an undeniable ingredient in leadership. What we have now has failed to uphold the only value that has held ancient societies intact for centuries. At its core, the golden calf of riches and power blindfolds those that wish to be the burning bush of truth at the cost of humanity. Your voice needs to be heard on November 3rd. Elections aren't as much about the leader as they are about choosing a commander-in-chief who facilitates the process for people to lead themselves. That's called democracy. It's inherently who we are. We need not dictation, dictators, or any other word that falls under that category. We invoke the vision of every civil and human rights leader that has come before us and said, power to the people. because there isn't a tax return, Mueller report, nor Comey book, nor movie more convincing that we need change than the obvious inadequacies of the incumbent president's natural duty to fill the role as president of the United States. And it is our natural duty to replace him. Vote like your democracy depends on it, because it does.